Good afternoon, welcome to VANIK-IAS. We will discuss current affair of 24 June. First we will discuss objective questions, then some main topic. First, consider the following statements. It involves the use of algorithms to perceive data learned from, the question is regarding deep learning, right? The question is regarding deep learning. It involves use of algorithms versus data learned from which enables deciding or predicting. It is a function that mimics the working of a human brain in processing data for use in detecting objects, recognizing speech, translating languages, and making decisions. Which of the above are correct regarding deep learning? Right? Which of the above are correct regarding deep learning? So far as deep learning is concerned, it is not based on algorithms, it is based on examples. Right? Deep learning is based on examples. For example, driverless car. One of the deep learning is driverless car. Right? Driverless car, that system that is based on deep learning, and they see huge amount of examples and they learn the things how to drive. So first statement is wrong, and it is a function that mimics the working of human brain. Mimics the working of human brain. How a human brain is functioning at a particular instant of driving, and regarding detecting of objects, recognizing speech, translating languages, and making decisions. The second statement is wrong regarding deep learning. It is based on examples, it observes examples or case studies, and it is also based on the processing of human brain with respect to anything. So second answer, only two answer is the right answer. Next, consider the following statements regarding artificial intelligence. It describes the action of machines accomplishing tasks that have historically required human intelligence. Yes. Action of machine tasks that have historically required human intelligence. So now a machine can also think. That is, artificial intelligence is called as machine learning. That means machine can think like a human being and they can take decisions. Earlier the computer or robot, they are working on a programmable way. That means in a particular situation you have to do this. If this happen, you have to do this. So regular tasks, they are performing a regular task. But now they can take decisions just like human being. They can think. That is what we call as human intelligence, and that is artificial intelligence. Facebook's list of suggested friends is an example of artificial intelligence work. Yes, artificial intelligence work because automatically it is happening. Right? It is thinking that this person may have link with you, and especially these social media networks, they are sending the news feed based on artificial intelligence, because every individual have different friend suggestions, right, based on certain categories. So the machine thinks that this person may be related to you based on their mutual friend or whatever. So that is, so it is like thinking a machine is thinking. Machine has the ability to think, and decisions, these are based on artificial intelligence. So both the statements are correct here. Next, the project Nipun. What is project Nipun? See, project, there are two. One is Nipun mission and one is project Nipun. Project Nipun is by Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs. This has started project Nipun for upskilling. This is for upskilling of construction workers. Project Nipun is upskilling of construction workers. It aims to upskill 1 lakh construction workers. Right? Project Nipun. And another is ministry. There is Mission Nipun also. That is Mission Nipun is development of basic literacy and reading abilities of the student. That is Mission Nipun, but this is Project Nipun. Mission Nipun is by Ministry of Education under National Education Policy, right? But this is Project Nipun, that is based on Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs. Deen Dayal Upadhyaya, that is in case of that is the urban skilling program, right? it is under the urban skilling program of government of India for urban in urban areas, right? So upskilling of construction workers, that is Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs. Next, consider the following regarding anti-defection law. It is news because recently there is a political crisis in Maharashtra. On the basis of that, this is in the news. 10th schedule was inserted in the constitution by 62 Amendment Act. No, this is not 62. This is 52nd Constitutional Amendment Act, right? That is in 1985. This anti-defection law was introduced and anti-defection law, and this 10th schedule was inserted, right? 10th schedule deals with defection. Defection means if elected representatives will not behave according to the party guidelines, then he will be terminated as a MLA, because usually people in India, they vote in the name of the party, not in the name of the person, or not just in the person. They vote in the terms of party ideology, right? So it lays down process by which grounds of defection. Yes, they can be defected. Defection means right? It is expected that their MPs or the MLAs, they need to support. But if they will not support, or vote opposite to the motion, then it can be considered as defection as well, right? Because these MPs and MLAs are elected on the basis of ideology of the party, not on their individual lines. So that can be also considered as defection. In that case, defection speaker is the highest authority according to 10th schedule, right? So second statement is right. And third is that this law doesn't provide time frame within which the presiding officer has to decide a defection case. Yes, it doesn't provide any time frame, right? Presiding officer means the speaker is the highest authority to decide in the matter of defection, but that is subject to malified intention, right? So 2 and 3 options are right. B is the answer. Then the following statement regarding GST. GST applicable on supply of goods and services? Yes, it is applicable on supply of goods and services. It is based on the principle of destination based consumption taxation. Yes, destination based and SGST, IGST are levied on which are decided by the central government. This is wrong, right? It is decided by the GST Council, right? GST Council, where 1/3 voting power has the center and states have 2/3 voting power. All the states have 2/3 voting power. So GST Council decides the central CGST, state GST and IGST, right? So this is 1 and 2 options are right. A is the answer, right? It is destination based consumption means the end user, right? Not at the production, not at the salesman. The end user, the consumer will pay the tax. So that is called a destination based consumption taxation. It is the GST is not levied at the time of production. So 1 and 2 options are right. Next, consider the following statements regarding Betti-Varda link interlinking project. Betti-Varda, it enables diversion of surplus water from Varda basin to Tungabhadra. No, this is from Betti to Varda, right? It is not Tungabhadra sub-basin. So first statement is wrong. It is a link between Betti river and Varda river, not Tungabhadra. Provision for compensatory afforestation on account of submergence of forest and has been made. Obviously, it is a obvious statement. Even if you don't know anything about it, this is right, because compensatory afforestation fund, it is created in 2018. It was compensatory afforestation. It is came in 2016, and it is the body is created in 2018. That means if any government project or private project, because of a particular project, if there is a forest loss, then the government or the private, they will pay the same amount to compensatory afforestation fund. Same amount means the amount which will be required to develop that much of forest. Suppose you are cutting 100 trees, then the amount, so to create 100 trees, how much amount of money will be required? That much of money will be transferred to the compensatory afforestation fund. In case if you are going to develop that much of tree in non-forest, then you have to pay the twice the amount that is required to develop that much of forest. That is compensatory afforestation rules. Another thing is that this compensatory afforestation fund is shared between 90% will be shared with the state and 10% lies with the center. The share between 90% and 10%. 10% will be utilized by center, 90% will be utilized by the state. That is creating forests, right, or plantation. No important historical monuments and archaeological structures will be coming under submergence. Yes, this is also right. Historical monuments and archaeological structures, they will not come under the submergence. So this question is common sense. So 2, 3 answers are right. Obviously, if that is just a basin, that means it is getting connected, means that is a canal, right? Why they will take a canal inside historical monuments, right? Because we do not have that much of big historical monuments of acres and acres. So I mean a huge land that can be diverted, right? Historical monuments has historical importance, and that may create law and order situation, many problems. So obviously they will not submerge, right? 2 and 3 options are right options. Then question number, which of the following provisions constitution are violated by Islamic form of divorce? Talaq-i-Hasan, Islamic form of divorce, right? Divorce, right? So obviously this is one article 15, right? No discrimination on the basis of religion or gender, or so there is no equality so far as the in divorce cases there is no equality of gender in case of women in case of Islamic divorce. So article 15 is violated. Article 16 is regarding public employment, there is no relation with it. Article 19, there is also there is no relation of it, because article 19 deals with freedom of speech. So these two, article 25, that is regarding religious practice. So article 1 and 10, right? So article 25 and article 15. Next, consider the following statements. A zooxanthellate corals are a group of corals that are able to derive nourishment from the sunlight. No, the zooxanthellates they derive from planktons, right? From phytoplanktons, they derive from planktons, not from sunlight. Planktons derive their nutrition from the sunlight. Zooxanthellates, corals that derive their nutrition from the planktons. So first statement is wrong. These are a group of corals, the deep sea representatives. Yes, they are corals deeply representatives. Majority of 100 meter. Yes, majority of the species of zooxanthellate, they are a huge. These corals are breeding ground of fishes also, fishes and many marine biodiversity. So statement is right. It is their present time predominantly they are present between 200 meter and 1000 meter. Their occurrences are not reported from the shallow coastal waters and continental shelves. See, 200 meter means that is shallow coastal waters. We cannot say 200 meter deep sea. So, contradicting each other. So if 2 is right, then 3 is not right. Right? So if 2 is right, then 3 is not right, or this is right, then obviously 3 will be wrong. Because we cannot call 200 meter as deep sea water. So only 2 only is the answer. Right? Which of the following statements are correct regarding quantum diamond microscope? Quantum diamond microscope, it has the ability to image magnetic fields that change within nanoseconds. It is not actually nanosecond, this is recently is news. It is in milliseconds, right? It is in milliseconds. If quantum diamond microscope that can observe magnetic, the ability to image the magnetic fields that change within milliseconds. It can measure the biological activity of neurons and dynamics of vortices in superconductors. Yes, it will be very helpful in semiconductors, in superconductors and other technological developments. So 2 is answer, right? So whenever there is some can option, then majority of the cases they are right. So this is not nanosecond, this is millisecond. that can image changing magnetic field within milliseconds. That is quantum diamond microscope. Then the term private access token has been recently seen in the news. Refers to, it helps to identify hypertext transfer protocol requests from legitimate devices and people without compromising the identity. Private access token, right? Private access token has been recently seen in the news. So that identification codes, metadata that distinguish from each other. No, it is a digital token which represents specific from one side. It enables clients to securely call protected web APIs. Answer is, it helps to identify hypertext transfer protocol requires from legitimate devices and people without compromising the identity. Helps to identify hypertext transfer protocol request from legitimate devices. So first statement is right, private access token. A is the answer. Okay. So the objective question discussion is finished. Now we will see some prelims facts, right? A brief prelim facts. Then we will come to main topic. Anti-defection law. Recently, political development in Maharashtra saw anti-defection law. MLAs are defecting. MLAs, at least more than 2/3 MLAs are getting assembled and they are defecting the party leadership. That is the Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray. They are going against Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray, right? Under the leadership of Mr. Sindhe. So, anti-defection law. What is anti-defection law? Ayaram Gayaram was a phrase that became popular in Indian politics after Haryana Amala Gayalal changed his party thrice within the same day in 1967, right? Haryana MLA Gayaram changed his party thrice within the same day in 1967. The anti-defection law was government by party hopping MLAs. This is also called as horse trading, right? Parliament added to its constitution in 1985 after 52nd constitutional amendment. 52nd constitutional amendment, it was added to the constitution. Yes. Next, 10th schedule. What is this 10th schedule? 10th schedule was introduced. This 10th schedule was inserted in the constitution by 52nd Amendment Act. 52nd Amendment Act introduced 10th schedule. It lays down process by which legislators may be disqualified on the grounds of defection. If a particular leader, a particular MLA or MP is not going according to the direction of the party, then they can be disqualified on the grounds of defection, right? So this 10th schedule lays out the process and the principle regarding defection. So what constitutes defections? There are three scenarios. When legislators are elected on the ticket of one political party, if are elected on the ticket of one political party, the membership of the political party, then that can be called as that party, or vote the legislator against the party wishes. Even if it is vote, a particular MLA vote against the wishes of the legislature also, that can be also called as defection, and he can be disqualified. If the legislator's speech and conduct inside or outside the legislature, can lead to deciding the voluntarily giving of the membership. Right? If it is behaving in such a manner that not according to the party lines, that he can be also defected. Independent members. The second scenario arises when MP and MLA who has been elected as an independent joins a particular political party later. So if you are independently owned, then you cannot go and align with another political party. That also causes defection. You will be disqualified from the legislature. Then nominated legislature. The law specifies that nominated legislators can join political party within 6 months of being appointed to the house. A nominated legislature can join a political party within 6 months appointed to the house, not after such time. So nominated members, they can join the political party within 6 months. If they are joined after 6 months, then they will be disqualified. Violation of the law in any of these scenarios can lead to legislator being paralyzed or defection. Defection means they will be disqualified as an MLA. Okay. It is applicable to Parliament and State Assemblies. This law is applicable to Parliament and State Assemblies because it is mentioned in Constitution, right? A Constitution is both for the schedule of the Constitution are both for the state government and the central government. It cannot be limited only to the central government because it is mentioned in the 10th schedule. Right, both Parliament and State Assemblies. Deciding authority, the presiding officers of the legislature, speakers and chairman are the deciding authorities in such cases. That is speakers or chairman. Chairman in the case of Rajya Sabha and speakers are in case of State Legislative Assembly or Parliament, they are the deciding authorities regarding defections. Supreme Court has held legislators that can challenge their decisions before the higher judiciary. Right. So that is, I have said that they are subject to judicial review because judicial review is a basic structure of the Constitution, and many times such type of defections are misused and many times they are politically motivated. The decision of the speaker is politically motivated according to the party demand of the party. So on the basis of that, Supreme Court has said that the legislator can challenge the decision of the speaker or the chairman in higher judiciary, that is in case of High Court or in case of Supreme Court. How long does it take to decide in the cases of defection? The law does not provide a time frame within which presiding officer has to decide that. Yes, there is no time frame within which presiding officers decide defection case. It is the discretionary of it is of to decide. The court in this recent judgment held that ideally speakers should not take a decision of defection. Ideally speakers should not take decision or defection petition within 3 months. Remember, within 3 months they should not take a decision because a particular individual, a MLA or a legislator may in certain circumstances may have such a conduct. So a 3 months observation should be needed, that on the basis of the person need to be defected. So court has said this, right? Okay. Next, exception in the law, legislator may change their party without risk of disqualification in certain circumstances. May change their party without the risk of disqualification. In what cases? The law allows a party to merge with into another party provided that at least two-thirds of its legislators are in favor of the merger. If two-thirds of the legislators, two-thirds of the MLAs or MPs, they are agree regarding the merge to another political party, then they will not be disqualified. In such a scenario, neither the members who decide to merge nor the ones who stay with the original party will face the disqualification. Right? If more than two-thirds members are decide to quit the political party or join another political party, nobody will face defection. So if the MLAs are concerned that are in Maharashtra, the situation has MLAs is going to join another political party, or they will establish a new political party, or they will overthrow the leader of the party, whatever, anything may happen. So as their number is more than two-thirds, then there is no risk of defection or disqualification of their membership in the Legislative Assembly. The Nipun scheme. Upskilling of Nirmana workers. Scheme trained over 1 lakh construction workers, right? Upskilling of Nirmana activities. More about the scheme. The project Nipun is initiative of Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, right? Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, and the scheme of Deen Dayal Antyodaya Yojana, National Urban Livelihood Mission, Day NULM, that is Deen Dayal Antyodaya Yojana, National Urban Livelihood Mission. This is a part of, so this scheme is a part of this is Day NULM. What is the aim? To aim is to train over 1 lakh construction workers that are engaged in construction. Fresh skilling and upskilling programs. skilled to become a skilled labor. That means those who construct the houses, right? Not as a manual labor, but the constructor, right? It will provide workers with work opportunities in foreign countries. Yes, they can go for construction in foreign countries as well. So that's why they will be upgraded. Role of National Skill Development Corporation, NSDC. NSDC, nodal agency under Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, MSDE, will be the implementation partner. Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, right? Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship will be the implementation partner of the project. So it is launched by Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, and that will be regarding implementation. National Skill Ministry of Skill Development will help. The project implementation is divided into three parts: training through recognition of prior learning, training through recognition of prior learning at construction sites, training through fresh skilling by plumbing and infrastructure SSC, by plumbing and infrastructure SSC, and international placement builders contractors in the countries such as Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, UAE or GCC countries. They need in the construction workers. National Skill Qualification Framework, NSQF, National Skills Qualification Framework. So they will be skilled and they will be sent abroad for the construction, so that will generate employment abroad, and that will give employment opportunities or also give economic boost, right? NSDC will provide responsible for overall execution of training, monitoring and candidate tracking. Training, monitoring and candidate tracking, this will be done by NSDC. It will provide trainees with Kaushal Bima. Kaushal Bima means skill insurance, 3-year accidental insurance with coverage of 2 lakhs. This will give you a 3-year accidental insurance with a coverage of 3 lakhs. Digital skills such as cashless transaction orientation about entrepreneurship, EPF facilities are also provided to the trainees. EPF facilities, that is Employee Provident Fund, and orientation about entrepreneurship. They can start their own business if they want by providing various schemes like Mudra scheme and other schemes. BOC GST, 5 years of goods and service tax. 5 years of goods and service tax, this is completed. So much divided indirect tax regime as seems to be finally stabilizing. The GST, because government is getting a huge amount of revenue, that is highest ever record, more than 1.5 lakh of crore of GST. So it is very high in 1 month. So GST, as the tax is very high, also it is rationalized to many extent. Then objectives and need of GST. Regimes for adopting a single rate structure in most countries are up to a simple taxes, prevent misclassification and litigation arising therefrom, to avoid an inverted duty structure of taxes on input exceeding those outputs requiring detailed scrutiny and reforms. So what was the need regarding that is to remove the cascading effect. What happens in the earlier tax structure? There was taxes on taxes, so huge amount of taxes was upon levied. There is also tax evasion. So there is also government was not tax evasion. Now it has abolished, right? That single rate structure, that is not so much complex. Earlier tax regime was very much complex, right? So now it has streamlined, or in last 5 years it is changed, and gradually the new rates are again and again revised, and it is stabilized. Now no state governments are losing their taxes. Earlier there was a fear that state governments will lose their taxes. The primary demand why GST was earlier not getting passed was that state government was fearing that they will lose taxes because of GST. That's why they are not supporting. Finally government promised any tax loss up to 5 years, right? On that condition, state governments finally ratified it, right? Because as taxation is a rigid provision of the constitution, that required the ratification of the states, right? 50% of states have ratified regarding the passing of the GST. it passed in the constitutional amendment is passed both in the parliament and also in state legislature have ratified them. After that get that implemented, right? The GST council was established in which 1/3 power lies with the center, 2/3 power lies with the states. So both the centers and the states they combinedly decide by voting what will the rate of the every right. So finally they are rationalized, many changes brought on by GST council, and finally no state is losing their taxes, government is also getting huge amount of taxes, the prices of goods have also reduced. It follows a multi-stage collection mechanism. It is a single tax on supply of goods and services to the consumer. It is a single tax, not multiple taxes are imposed, right? Credits of input tax are paid at each stage, right? And will be available to the subsequent stage of value addition, which makes GST essentially tax on value addition on each stage. A tax only on value addition on each stage. So it is input tax is provided on each stage of sellers. Will thus bear only GST charged by the last dealer in the supply chain. This will set up benefits on all the previous stages. So calculate a final one tax will be levied on the consumer. It meant to be unified indirect tax across the country on products and services, both products and services. Unified indirect tax. Indirect tax means which we give indirectly. For example, you are purchasing a particular good, you are eating a biscuit, you are buying a mobile, you are providing indirect tax. Direct tax means income tax, corporate tax, they are called direct tax. But unified indirect tax means earlier we has VAT that was not unified. Each state has different tax structures. For example, in case of petroleum products are kept out of the GST purview. So now you can see the petrol rate is different in different states because they have different rates. So earlier there was taxes was levied by the state governments as well based on the federal power, but now after GST it is a unified tax regime throughout the country, except some goods like some products like your petroleum products, alcohol, they are kept out of the purview of GST because states have opposed in this regard. Earlier there was VAT, but not all subsumed in GST. There is no, usually cess is not applied. Cess surcharge, various cess, huge amount of cess and surcharges were also now they are not applied. Silent features of GST, it is applicable on supply of goods and services as against the present concept of manufacture of the goods and services in provision of supply. It is applicable on supply of goods and services, right? It's not based on the manufacture sector, it is regarding the supply. It is based on the principle of destination. So the excise duty, what we earlier say was excise duty was abolished. Destination based consumption taxation, that means if you are producing a particular good in Odisha and here the tax will not be paid. Where it is consumed, suppose that is consumed in Andhra Pradesh, people of Andhra Pradesh will pay for that. So it is a destination based consumption taxation as right as the earlier based origin based taxation, right? Next, it is a dual GST with central GST and yes, there is dual GST. There is something called a central states simultaneously levying taxes on common base. The GST to be levied by center will be called as central GST. GST to be levied by state is called as state GST or SGST. An integrated GST or IGST will be levied for interstate supply of goods, right, including stock transfers of goods and services, that is called as IGST. GST being levied at the four rates, that is 5%, 12%, 16%, 28%. There is no tax on levied on them. So primarily this is 5%, 12%, 16% or 18% tax. 5% are those which are mostly essential, 28% are those taxes, they have those goods which are luxury goods, right? For example, GST will apply all goods other than alcohol. Remember, other than alcohol, crude, motor spirit, petrol, high-speed diesel, natural gas, and aviation turbine fuel. In all other cases, GST applies. GST Council headed by the Union Finance Minister is the governor key decision-making body for GST. Headed by the Union Finance Minister and participated by the finance minister of the state that constitute the GST council. What are the achievements? GST revenues have shown reasonably high buoyancy with collection of over 1 lakh crore in the last 10 months. Over 1 lakh crore last month and record high of 1.6 lakh crore in April 2022. So highest ever GST indirect tax collection. So we can say that our tax collection is rationalized, right? There is tax evasion has been even it has made simple, and it is not complex. It has made simple. The GST has been able to stabilize the technology platform. It has, yes, the GST is a technology platform that has also able to stabilize, right? Next, mandatory invoicing for all business over 100 crore has enabled better invoice matching and detection of fake invoices, right? So detection of fake invoicing for all in e-invoicing for all businesses over 100 crore, it has increased the transparency and tax compliance, which are we called as tax buoyancy as well. This has helped improve tax compliance and also enabled better enforcement. In India, it has been remarkable. It is also helped in faceless tax regime, faceless taxation. That means, in case of any GST dispute, many things are not the person do not need to visit the office. That can be solved in the faceless manner. In India, it has been a remarkable achievement and a unique experiment in the cooperative federalism. Unique experiment in the cooperative federalism, right? We do not have a system of complete, watertight federalism like USA. We have a cooperative federalism. That means in many cases, the center takes the help of the center and state both cooperate with each other. So GST is also deciding, they are combinedly deciding the tax rates, right? So it is the experiment, unique experiment of cooperative federalism. In this, both the union and the state governments gave up their tax autonomy in favor of domestic trade taxes. Union and state governments gave their tax autonomy in favor of harmonizing taxes. Yes, the state governments and the union government both sacrifice their power to tax. State governments have also don't have the autonomy. They are doing combinedly under the GST Council. It helps the country in transitioning from an automated indirect tax ecosystem. Transitioning to an automated indirect tax ecosystem. That means it will not interfere regularly by the authorities. Automated, right? Everything is automated and digitized. From electronic compliances, generation of electronic compliances, right? Regarding the filing of the tax returns and tracking movement of goods and goods through e-way bill, everything is now online, right? Tracking movements of goods through e-way bill is also, everything is making digitized. So transparency has increased, taxes have increased, tax reduction, tax buoyancy has increased, that is growth of taxation. Also tax, so it is more transparent and it is more simplified. The complex system has gone. And one more thing is that the most important thing is that the consumer goods have their price has reduced in an overall manner. E-invoicing system helped reduce fake invoicing. So fake invoicing, that means corruption has reduced, black money has also reduced. Use of technology with online bill generation that has resulted in smoother consignment movement and much fewer disputes with the officials. Fewer disputes, right? That is smooth consignment of movement and fewer disputes with the officials. It has become more because it has become more simplified than ever. Then after the introduction of GST, there has been significant reduction in the transaction cost. Significant reduction in the transaction costs. GST has improved competitiveness in domestic industries. Competitiveness in domestic industries in so the cascading effect has gone. So that is increase the competitiveness because the price of a particular good decreased. As the price of a particular good decreased, so what happened? That will become more competitive. More competitive means when price reduces, the demand increases. That increase in demand in the international market is called as, it is becoming the more competitiveness increase of a particular good. A system of seamless tax credit throughout the value chain and across boundaries of states would ensure that there is minimal cascading taxes. Yes, seamless tax credit through the value chain and across boundaries of states that has in minimal cascading effects of taxes which is earlier very much complex, now it is simplified. This will reduce the hidden cost during the business. GST give a major boost to Make in India initiative of the government in India by making goods and services produced within India compete in the national as well as international market. One of the reason why FDI comes is simplified tax structure. You have two types of taxation. One is direct tax structure and another indirect tax structure. So we have rationalized the indirect tax structure, and so far as direct tax structure is concerned also, India has minimal tax, or it has rationalized the tax system in whole Asia. So far as corporate tax is concerned, India has one of the minimum tax rates in the whole Asia. So both rationalizing the both tax system, that is both in case of indirect tax system and also in direct tax system, that will bring foreign direct investment and bring investment to the country, solve the problem of the employment, and will increase the government revenues. Okay. Okay, this displacement of tribals and other marginalized communities have been one of the major consequences of the development process of India. So the question is regarding displacement of tribals and other marginalized, right? Okay, that has been a long issue since long time, because what happens when when huge amount of people will be displaced. Mining activity in a particular area, then huge amount of people will again displaced from their indigenous land. So when a particular person displaces from their rural economy, the rural economy breaks down, the traditional system breaks down. As those people, those people are too marginalized, especially those people who live in jungle. For example, some tribes of Niyamgiri, in case of Odisha, that was a famous case with the case of Vedanta mines, with the tribals are opposing regarding the Niyamgiri hill. So what happened in that case? Some tribals who are residing in the jungle, they are dependent for their daily livelihoods, that is collection of fodder or fruits or the forest or hunting, gathering, whatever. They are dependent on the forest. Now suppose a foreign alien industrialized, they want to take land, and government is supporting because government want resources, government want industries, right? We all want industries, because if industries will come, we will get revenues, we will get employment, public will get employment, government will get revenues, there will be economical growth, goods and services will be more cheaper because that will be production. Our indigenous goods will be more. There will be development of manufacturing. We have to develop industries. But the fact is that whenever you establish an industries, then we have to mine the natural resources. And when mining starts, especially these mines are usually they are present in interior area, especially in hills or in forests. So you have to cut forests. So the local people who are dependent on those areas, they get affected. Those people usually they are not highly educated or skilled, so that they can get employment or any other else. Their traditional employment sources are agriculture or missions like that. As they will not get employment, they will get some very few, many times they do not have the land records. That's why they also do not get that much of money from the rehabilitation money, but indirectly they are enjoying from that right. For example, area, so for example, there is a forest and that is a government land, then nobody has ownership over that forest, but they are dependent on the forest products, right? So as they do not own that forest land, and if industries are getting established there, then they will not be paid the remuneration, right? Another thing is that only it is a statistic that only by a survey it is seen that only 15% of the people who are displaced at an average from particular project, they are rehabilitated. Only 15%. So rest of the 85% people, especially the tribals who are displaced from that place, they do not get any rehabilitation. It is an extremely difficult task for the administration to rehabilitate them, right? Because you have to take them a new forest, new jungle area where they will not be completely unknown. So that creates law and order situation. So Supreme Court in case of Niyamgiri verdict, given the verdict that you have to take the decision of the Gram Sabha according to PESA Act, that they should give their consent if you want to take the land, right? So in that case, Gram Sabha was the full authority where there is tribal areas. So now it's a conflict between our law and institution and also economic development of the state. Whether it is the rights of the tribals or the rights of the indigenous communities or the social justice or economic development of the states. So that is the issue. It has many wrong repercussions as well. For example, that creates tribal discontent and many times that fuels nationalism as well, because the ideology of nationalism based on that particular area, that they are taking your land, they are taking your forest land in which you are staying since many decades. They are taking your mother. The tribals have an emotional attachment to the hills or the forest. So anytime a particular industry takes them away, they become reactive and they think that their land is taken away. Another thing is that according to Forest Right Act 2006, government has given them forest lands, right? They are complaining forest land. That means this much land in the forest as yours, which was earlier not recognized. So now their forest land getting recognized. But after some time, when government found that there is some minerals in that area, they want to displace those tribals, and that is when they react. If we have assured us this land is ours, then please leave us and leave us to stay ourselves in peace. Let us live in peace. So they at that time also react when, because they do not want to give away their land which they have got under Forest Right Act of 2006. So now that is a dispute between the state, and it is very difficult between the policymakers and between the government and the industrialists or the people, whether to go for the industrialization because that is very essential, or to secure the rights of the tribals. So if you are to suffer, you should be suffering in the interest of the country. This is what Jawaharlal said, right? Interest of the country. So some local people will suffer because of the nation. Jawaharlal Nehru speaking to the villagers who were displaced by the Hirakud Dam 1940. Since independence, tribals and other marginalized communities have been the forefront of receiving negative externalities arising from our modern development process, right? Displacement of these groups have been one of the major consequences of the process, because they live amidst India's verdant forest, flowing rivers, and on top of the most valuable minerals. Because these indigenous communities, they live in the forest and rivers, and usually in case of, for example, in Hirakud Dam, many of the villages they got submerged in the Hirakud Dam. Why? But now those people suffered, but the whole Odisha got benefited because of Hirakud Dam. That's starting from hydropower, or in case of irrigation in the whole Bargarh and Sambalpur areas or Western Odisha. Now also it has controlled the flood. So in multi-dimensional aspect, it has helped the people. But some people, many of the villagers, they suffered because of it. But now, so first, just write what happens in the case of developmental process. Now the question is major consequences. Yes, now to explain every part of the question. First thing, displace. Here the keywords are the displace some of the tribals, right? And what are the consequences of development? Development in the process of India. Yes. Regarding this, the development process, the consequence is the displacement of the tribal communities. As the resources have gained market value, the tribals have to make way for their commercial forest enterprises, large and small dams, mines in the name of development. Make a way for commercial forest enterprises. As market value of goods and services are increasing, then we need more and more goods and services. Huge amount of manufacturing is developing every day. For that, they need natural resources. The materialism is increasing. The consumers are increasing using various goods and services. So for that, we need natural resources. For natural resources, we have to mine various mines. So that is the issue. So large and small dams and mines in the name of development, it is developed. The sociologist Walter Fernandez has documented no fewer than 40% of those displaced development projects are tribals, although they constitute only 8% of population. So especially tribals are displaced more around 40% of those, around the total amount of displaced person, tribals constitute 40%, although their population is 8%. That means majorly, primarily the tribals are getting displaced for development of industries or mines. Okay. In past, dam projects like Tehri and Sardar Sarovar displaced thousands, and many have been uprooted the 4-5 times within decades. For example, 30,000 villages of Madhya Pradesh were fast displaced during the construction of Rihan Dam. 30,000 villagers, late 50s. Later again, the coal was found in mid 70s. A third time, make a room for industry. Finally, the Singoli mega power station was also mooted in 1980s. So thousands of people get displaced when a particular project develops. Also, the surrounding projects develops in a particular area. Suppose there is coal is developed. So another industries will also develop in those areas that will combinedly displace their villages. Tribals and marginalized populations traditionally depend on the common property of the survival. For example, that is the forest. They are dependent on common property. Unlike the farmers who own in land individually, thus the rights of the natural resources are easily appropriated. For example, VANIK-IAS, the nomads of Rajaji National Park have been resisting their ouster bereft of any legal courses, right? VANIK-IAS that are in your Rajaji National Park, they are resisting their ouster. They want to live in those areas. They want to conserve the forest. Especially, they are not threat to the forest. The tribals are not threat to the forest because they are dependent on the forest. They do not have any commercial interest or link with the outside world. They primarily live with hunting and gathering of food or slight few cultivation, right? They do not have to, they do not extract timbers and sell outside in commercial purposes. So they are not threat to the environment or the national park. But the fact is that many times the people die. Many times they also for their to make them secure. Many times their man-animal conflict happens. That's why government want to displace them. That is one issue. In that case, when man and animal conflict happens, that is primarily that creates and that endanger the forest animals and also endanger the livelihoods of the people itself, and that creates a law and situation among the local communities. They protest to take away, for example, in case of Odisha, there is example of Sundari tiger. In case of local population, they demanded to take away the tiger away from that South Coastal Tiger Reserve. But the fact is that forest is made for the tigers, not for the human beings. So a tiger cannot live in a urban areas, but human beings can be shifted. We have villages and urban areas for the human beings to live. We have forest for the species. We cannot say that to remove a tiger from a forest. That is the illogical things we can say, and that is the worst thing you can do regarding biodiversity. So in past dam projects like Tehri Dam, Sardar Sarovar displaced thousands, and mainly thousands of people are displaced. In case of Tehri, Sardar Sarovar, many have been uprooted 4 to 5 times within decades. 4 to 5 times. That means if they suppose they are displaced from this place to this, then again they will find something here, some new mines. Then again they will displaced. So they will displaced everywhere. There is something called emotional attachment of these tribals also. Every people has an emotional attachment to their village of their their locality. So when they see the destruction of that area, that is also create emotional issues and law and order issues. So let again their local was found in the mid 70s. A third time to make room for the industry. And finally, when the Singrauli mega thermal power station mooted in the last 80s. Tribals and marginalized population traditionally depend on common property for survival. They depend on common property for survival, right? Okay. Despite having adequate laws like Forest Right Act 2006, Land Acquisition Act 2013, although it was not passed, Panchayat Schedule Extension Act 1996 for empowering and providing rights to tribals issued related to land conflict, rehabilitation and resettlement still persist. For example, protest of Dangriya Kant and tribes of bauxite mining in Niyamgiri Hills, Odisha. So, rehabilitation resettlement issue still persists. So, conclusion is that our development process should not be lopsided, benefiting only a privileged section of the society. Additionally, social impact assessment and rights of tribals marginalized should be prioritized in any development activity, without which vision of inclusive development will remain incomplete. Inclusive development means participating of tribals in the process of development, right? Assimilating the tribals in the process of development, that is what we call as inclusive development. That is, development should not be against the interest of the tribals. That also benefit the tribals. So the fact is that if you establish a university, how many local tribals will study in those universities? So that is the issue, right? They will not get the job because they are not skilled. They are many of them are illiterate. They are not skilled. They do not have higher qualification. So they will not get employment in a particular industry, right? As they do not they are based on forests, so they do not have individual ownership of the land. So they will not get money for that as well. So that's why they oppose. And there is also political interest by the Naxalites. So the lecture today ends here. Thank you. Like this video and share this video.